It's Friday, May 15, and time for your Barbados Today morning news update. Come Monday, more businesses will reopen, restrictions on some sporting activities will be lifted, and residents will have extra hours at the beach. However, the 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. COVID-19 curfew will remain in effect. Prime Minister Mia Mottley made the announcement about Phase 3 of the reopening last night during a press conference at the Lloyd Erskine Sandyford Centre following a meeting of the social partnership. Those businesses given the green light to resume operations are cottage industries, repair services, barbers and hairdressers, churches, restaurants for drive-through, delivery and takeaway services, and contactless sports such as running, tennis and golf. The Prime Minister said with the spread of COVID-19 projected to be on a downward trajectory, her government was working towards balancing lives and livelihoods.
I hope, however, that in our drilling down, we are in a position to put as many people back to work week by week by week without compromising the gains that the country has made with respect to where we are with COVID-19. The reality is that Barbados has tested a higher percentage of our population than a lot of countries in the world. I believe that we are close to just under 1.17% of the population when last I checked yesterday or day before. And that is a significant achievement and by no means is something to be underestimated or to be ignored.
Prime Minister Mottley described as staggering the amount of people who filed for unemployment benefits from the National Insurance Scheme, but she's hopeful some would find employment with the reopening of businesses.
For Barbados, with a workforce of 140,000 people, to have 36,482 people claim unemployment benefit, we accept that some of that is as a result of the lockdown. As to what percentage, we can't tell you, so don't ask me what percentage because I would be telling you a lie if I answered that. But we accept that with some businesses coming back on stream, more and more employees will not need to benefit from unemployment benefit in the long term. And they're entitled to, as you know, up to 6 months. But some of them may well be back in work within 4, 6, 8 weeks, depending on the nature of their employment. We accept that we have a duty to be our brothers and sisters' keeper. That is the Barbados that we know. That is the Barbados that we must continue to embrace. On 166 square miles, if we are not working together and with each other, we are going to run into problems in this nation.
Chairman of the Barbados Private Sector Association, Edward Clark, welcomed the news of the reopening of businesses and called on Barbadians to support them however possible.
It is critical that Barbadians get back to work and the Barbados economy gets back to work. We cannot afford as a country to have 37,000 people unemployed at any one time, and that is adding to the other 10%. We have to change that. The private sector is going to do all that it can to ensure that we keep people employed for as long as we can. And we want to ask the Barbadian public to come out and to support these Barbadian business people, the Barbados employees who are going back to work. It is important that we keep them at work and that we don't have a dependency on our government to provide for so many Barbadians. So we ask the wider public to support the businesses and to support the employees.
Government is set to address issues related to the Common Entrance Exam when senior ministry officials meet today with teachers' representatives. President of the Barbados Secondary Teachers Union, Mary Redmond, said the dates and structure of the 11 Plus and the Caribbean Examinations Council tests are among topics on the agenda. Our Emmanuel Joseph has more.
Redmond told Barbados Today the leadership of her union met last Friday with the Chief Education Officer, Joy Adamson, after the BSTU wrote her calling for an urgent meeting by the end of that week to discuss a number of concerns surrounding the administration of the new online school term. Redmond said that meeting was a listening meeting where the chief education officer essentially listened to the teachers' concerns. She said the follow-up meeting today, Friday, will try to address 4 major areas of concern to the teachers. For instance, the BSTU head told Barbados Today the Ministry of Education is to address an end-of-term date, synchronous and asynchronous teaching, the mandated 3-hour minimum of synchronous teaching, and dates and structure of CXC and the 11+ exams. The BSTU and the Barbados Union of Teachers have taken exception to a list of new expectations issued by Adamson in a letter dated May 3, 2020, the day before the online classes started. Both unions have said they are unhappy with the tone and content of the letter and have identified similar areas of contention. Emmanuel Joseph for Barbados Today.
Light and Power has announced lower electricity bills in the short term amid the fall in fuel prices as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. With an expected decline in the fuel clause adjustment element of the monthly bill as world oil prices slumped to below zero, Light and Power's customer care manager Rodney Dottin promised a cumulative 44% saving will be passed on to customers.
In addition to measures already taken, we wish to announce another measure to provide further ease. We will extend the payment discount to domestic customers on bills issued from March 1st and extending into April 2020 for bills that are settled within 15 working days following the lifting of the national curfew. For customers who have paid their bill prior to this announcement, the discount amount will be applied as a credit to your account. There is no need to call Light and Power for any additional action on your part. A significant impact of the pandemic on the global economy is the price of fuel, and customers will see a notable ease in electricity rates because of the drop in world fuel oil prices. The fuel clause adjustment for the month of May is 16.2176 cents per kilowatt hour, compared to 24.1235 cents per kilowatt hour for April, a decrease of 33%. Cumulatively, from March to May, there has been a 44% decrease in the fuel component of customer bills.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To news from the region, Bimini will go on total lockdown starting next Monday in a bid to slow and control community spread of the COVID-19 virus on the island. Bahamian Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis made the announcement in an address to the nation. More in this ZNS News report.
The lockdown measure will be strictly enforced in order to save lives and to protect the general health of all those on Bimini.
Prime Minister the Most Honorable Dr. Hubert Minnis announcing Thursday that a 2-week lockdown will begin in Bimini at 9 p.m. on Monday, May 18th until midnight on Saturday, May 30th. The Prime Minister said this date will be extended to 14 days when Parliament reconvenes. The decision comes after health officials confirmed 2 positive COVID-19 cases on Bimini Thursday, pushing the total count there to 13.
A total of 102 residents have been swabbed for COVID-19. Outside of New Providence, Bimini, with a population of approximately 2,000, have the largest number of recorded cases in the Bahamas. The number of confirmed cases is expected to increase if much of the population continues to fail to practice the recommendations for physical distancing.
And finally, Decades of neglect and underinvestment in addressing people's mental health needs have been exposed by the COVID-19 pandemic. That's according to Director of the World Health Organization's Department of Mental Health and Substance Use, Devorah Castell. And she's calling for ambitious commitments from countries in the way they treat psychological illness.
We have seen in the past that similar cases of economic crisis have increased the number of people with mental health issues, leading to high rates of suicide, for example, due to the mental health condition or the substance abuse, for example. We need to make sure that measures are there to protect and promote and care for existing situation right now. This is something that needs to be done in the middle of the crisis so that we can prevent things to become worse in the near future. We can prevent the numbers to become the ones that we see in emergencies that we have seen in the past.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.